What up, everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday thing. This thing that we do every Thursday, and again, we're pretty good. We're staying pretty on time as of late. I'm pretty proud of that. So unfortunately, this week we don't have a warranty. No warranty with us, which kind of sucks. But what are you gonna do? Um, and Jordan also probably is not going to be joining us. What are you gonna do? And I can't thank Randy enough for making the thumbnail. And other than that, it's kind of it. I think we're gonna go solo. But I'm really not solo because I got a guest I've wanted to have on for a really long time, just because I wanted to pick his brain about this. This is another one of those like OG Nasiak member kind of things, or people you know in the community that it's just interesting to talk to folks like this out of the community. But this one's a little special, and it hit me when I wanted a particular part for my new bug eye, new to me bug eye, and I'm like, I know the guy to talk to, and we started chatting, and then I again purchased parts from him, which will not be the first, and I guarantee will not be the last, especially some of the goodies he's sitting on right now. And then yeah, I was like, hey man, you got to be on this podcast. Like I really would love to have you on this podcast. So we got Max Schrager on the podcast, which is sick. Max, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you sound great, man. So
All right. Yeah, I'm doing great.
Max is currently driving in the middle of nowhere right now in a truck. He's got a set of iPods in his head or whatever. And it seems to be working halfway decent. The AirPod sound quality seems to be good. So I think we're gonna do this, man. But I can't thank you enough for joining us. You're somebody I've wanted to have on this show for a really long time. And I don't think you're kind of infamous within the Midwest community, but not like I'm sure people all over the US have bought parts. Hell, probably all over the world you've bought and traded and sold parts to people all over the damn place, but may not realize to the extent that some of us Midwest folks are. So first off, thanks for being on. What is like, kind of give us a rundown of your whole thing real quick. Where are you from? What do you do? And then we'll talk about the insane JDM-ness.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. First off, I appreciate the offer to be on this podcast. Yeah, so I've been working on Subarus and owned Subarus for about 15 years now. I started out back in Indiana, where I'm from. I bought my first one in Fort Wayne. It was a blue bug eye, just like yours.
What year was that?
And then it was a O2 bug eye in 2009.
Okay.
So it was only 7 years old. It had 90,000 miles. And
sure.
yeah, so I started out with that. Yep. Then I jumped up to an 04 STI, which I still have. I bought that in 2012. And yeah, so I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Indiana. I currently live in Michigan. And I work at Musashi, which is a Japanese OEM for differentials and gears. So I kind of am in the automotive world in multiple facets. And just big into Subarus, also into Porsches. So yeah, thanks for having me again, Dewey.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about some Porsches a little bit too, because that's kind of exciting also.
Sure.
But
definitely,
we gotta wait till the end. We gotta do Subaru stuff first. But
definitely.
So most people who know you, okay, know you for this absolutely absurd collection of mostly GD chassis, JDM unobtainium goodies that you have, okay? And like, I'll go into some stories about this later, especially when the first time I ever got to go see this Hall of Wonders. But did you end up getting into this through your current occupation, or how did this like happen? Like, let's talk about, I'm interested personally to know how you got into like just Subarus in general. Why a Subaru? And then how did the whole JDM thing like really start happening?
Sure. Yeah. So when I got my bug eye, I actually kind of liked blob eyes more at the time, and um, I thought the JDM bug eye looked a lot better than the USDM one. So I started buying parts back on Naziak back in like 2010, 2011. Um, and yeah, I was drawn to Subaru because Japanese cars are very reliable. My parents had Hondas and Toyotas, and Boxer motors are kind of in our family with Porsches and whatnot. So it was kind of a good fit. Um, so I just started buying parts here and there on Naziak and eBay, and I kind of built a collection. And as you know, it's gotten a lot more addictive over time. But yeah, it just
So
kind of
did
started
it
on
did
Naziak
this
and
start
just went through.
as you just started acquiring parts off of Nasiak of little different bits you wanted to put on your car? Because I got to be real,
Yeah,
you have enough in your collection for like 50 cars now. So like
yep.
was it like you bought a piece and you're like, this is pretty cool? Did you just get like this dopamine hit from finding a cool piece? Like, do you remember what that first piece of random JDM stuff was that was just like, man, this is sick? Like what started
Yeah.
the waterfall here? Because you don't just have and I'm gonna explain this in a second. You don't just have like a couple of cool pieces. You're not a guy with just like, oh, I got some cool JDM shit in my garage. No, you have a hall of wonders.
Yep. Yeah. So you hit a nail on the head there, actually. Like, um, there was a couple pieces that I got. They were kind of just the first piece of the waterfall, I guess. And what those pieces were was a blue bug eye grill, V7 STI grill, and hood scoop that I traded a guy that I met on Naziak. Drove to Chicago, traded him my stock parts plus like 350, $400 in cash. And that kind of started the addiction. And beyond that, I found other sources like, other places on Naziak and eBay. And then I started buying cars intentionally to part them out. And the parting out really was what started like the collection of parts,
Okay.
because there's only so much you can buy um, from like Naziak, and not just get completely over under like way in debt
Sure.
quick. But when you part out a car, you can like buy the car, sell the engine for the price you got the car for, sell the transmission, make a little money, and then you get all the rest of the parts kind of on your own. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. And I think I parted out 3 bug eyes and then 2 blob eyes initially. That's kind of what started the whole basement thing.
So, were you buying mostly US domestic market cars? Did you bring over any like full JDM cars to tear apart? Like what?
Yeah,
Because
so initially it was a couple of running and driving USDM bug eyes and blob eyes,
sure.
and then I did buy a couple of half cuts
Mhm.
um, that I intended to put into my own cars at one point. The engine, transmission.
Sure.
So I think I had a V7 wagon half cut, which didn't have any panels, but it was kind of cool, and then a GC8 half cut as well.
So a lot of people don't. We used to see this all the time, and I feel like you don't see it as much as you used to. But a Japanese car, when it gets past a certain age, if it gets in some sort of a wreck or something like that, they cut it in half. Okay. And it used to be super common to literally buy the whole front end of a car, like a whole, like, it had engine trans, everything, the whole damn front of the car. And a lot of times with you could buy the whole front of the car plus like the rear suspension, diff, and drive shaft. They'd throw it in there and you basically get everything you needed to turn your car into something. And at one point, they were actually kind of reasonable. I remember seeing like version 7 half cuts for like 7 grand. You know what I mean? And even earlier, they were only like 5 back before like the real gnarly JDM bug hit. And I feel like you don't see that as much anymore. Do you? I don't know. Was that is that
Well,
something that you've noticed? Like that's chilled out a lot, or do they just not put them up on eBay the way they used to? Or
no, I agree with all those points. I think back then people didn't really know enough, especially about the GC8 ones. So I think I got mine for under 5 grand.
yeah,
The bug eye ones were a lot more desirable, obviously, because you could easily swap that stuff into a US bug eye. But I think what's been happening lately is the people in Japan who are seeking these cars to make money are waiting them out instead of cutting them, right? Because in a year or even now, you can buy a JDM bug eye. So why
Yep.
cut it in half and only make half your profit when you could sell the whole car at an auction, and sell it to somebody in the US?
That's
So
true.
that's I think what's happening more recent. Yeah, and also the prices got kind of crazy. Like you mentioned, I saw half cuts of GDBs, bug eyes and blob eyes for between 7 and 10 grand, and I bought plenty in that price range. But now the last ones I saw were between 15 and 16, maybe 18 even. And that's the whole price of a USDM SDI. Why buy the
Yes.
JDM one at that point?
And you can even like JDM bug eyes, you can almost get one into the States for that now.
Yeah, I agree.
So like it just doesn't make sense. But that's how like a lot of these parts ended up over here is like they were bringing in half cuts all over the place. So
Oh yeah.
um why a Subaru? Like what got you into Subarus?
Well, definitely like the Boxer engine in general, similar to the Porsche,
Okay.
and the full time all wheel drive was a huge plus. Growing up in Michigan and Indiana, so once I learned more about drivetrains in my career and learned how special the transaxle is in a Subaru, even the 5 speed one, which is weak, it's still very special. The design,
Hmm.
I was really drawn to that, and of course, the Japanese reliability and the sound and
Sure.
just the availability in the community. Like there's so many people who are into Subarus, and I
Yeah.
made so many amazing friendships in this. I wouldn't ask for any other way.
The community's really good. That's honestly people come here because they think it's a cool car and they stay for the community. Um
Yep.
the so my story, how I met you, like I knew of your existence. You were always this guy selling these insane JDM things that I couldn't afford because I was piss broke back in the day. But I knew of you, but then came this TV show thing I was doing, and we had this yellow bug eye. Okay. Uh and I needed some goodies, and I don't even remember what I picked up from you. You had some sort of it. I don't think it was a hood. Maybe it was a fender or something, or a bumper. It was something pretty basic, but you had a Sonic Yellow, whatever I needed. I don't remember what it was. It was some bug eye piece for the Sonic Yellow car. I ended up going through a bunch of people, and they're like, dude, Max has got one. And I hit you up, and you're like, yeah, dude, just come get it. So I drove out because we needed it for this TV show thing I was doing. And I roll
Yep.
up, and there's like 3 gorgeous bug eyes in the yard and all sorts of shit. You open up your garage, and I'm thinking this is it, okay? Your garage, you've got like 6 or 7 of like these unobtainium bumpers. You got like a couple of Pro Drive bumpers, and you got some aluminum hoods in there and all sorts of shit and I'm like, holy shit, man, this guy's already sitting on a bunch of stuff. So I'm talking to you in the garage, and you're like, oh yeah, man, you want to see the collection? I'm like, well, what the fuck is this? I'm like, sure, I guess. Like, yeah, I got all the stuff in the basement. So I'm thinking I'm going down to this basement to get murdered. Um, but I'm down. I'm always in for an adventure. So we go downstairs, and your basement is wall to wall the most unobtainium JDM shit. I've never. My jaw straight up hit the floor. This is all stuff like you'd see in like a hyper rev or something like that, or just like these crazy posts you'd see on Nasiak as somebody's like build thread that they put this car together over like 20 years and spent like 2 years hunting down a particular shift knob or some shit, and you've got like 6 of them. It was insane. In every direction I looked, there's like parts. I it's hard to even explain the shit that was in your basement. Now, I haven't been there in a while. I don't know if you've moved a bunch of this shit out. And this was, what was it, 2020, 2019, 2020? It was right in that ballpark
Yeah,
that
something
that
around
we
that.
put that together. And like I don't know if you've thinned stuff out, but dude, it was insane. Um
Yes. It's quite the contrary. Actually, it's gotten a lot more dense.
Oh my god.
Much more stuff down there. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, um, yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Now I want to go through and explain all the crazy shit that you had in there. But like, I mean, you had like 6 sets of seats. You had like 5 or 6 different sets of different types of bug eye headlights. You had every grill in existence. Um, some aftermarket JDM grills, a bunch of stock style JDM grills, the, like different types of shift linkages. You had a bunch of unobtainium ass wheels down there. Just, I can't even, like, I'm not even scratching the surface of the crazy shit that was down there. So like, there was some point between, yeah, I started like buying and trading and some small stuff. Did you ever intend on that to become like a full blast business? And I mean, at this point, did you ever look at it as like, this is going to be my day job? Or has it always just been like, this is kind of a side gig? Like, because this went so far past a collection that like, this was either you had to consider it inventory or you had to consider it hoarding. There's no in between. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, was this ever
Yeah.
going to be like a full blast day job to you or what? Or was it just like, I love doing this and I want all of it?
No, it's always been a hobby, and it does feel like a business at times, but it started out as a hobby. It still is, and it's nice to have all that stuff there for my personal cars, in case I break something. But no, it did really kind of blossom in the mid 2010s. I think Yahoo Auctions and Kruger and Up Garage were really prevalent. So the supply chain was easy to get as far as parts, and they were cheap enough where I could make some money.
Yep.
So I would buy stuff that I was interested in, and then if people wanted it, they knew that I had it, so of course they would message me and buy it, which is where that came from.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it always just started out as a hobby, and then it obviously has just become a regular thing now, and it is kind of just a side job for me. I have a full blown career, and this is just more for fun. And when I get off work, I just go to second work.
So you working for a Japanese company, were you able to like leverage any of that to help you start acquiring more parts?
The only thing that happened there was when I started at this job in 2015, I spent 6 months living in Japan to do training. And that was really great for the timing, as well as all the extra free time I had, all the weekends to go buy parts.
Mhm.
And then I would ship them back to myself. So, that was helpful. I wouldn't call like, coinciding. It was just, I would go to all the different op garages in person, and I get parts a lot cheaper and be able to ship them back on my own cheaper. And I left all my clothes there and filled my suitcases with parts too.
That is that
So
is
that was-
that is a massive thing. You being able to go to Up Garage, especially before Up Garage like really jacked their prices, like in Japan. So
yes.
would you just go to Up Garage and just like just a smorgasbord? Were you just buying like crazy?
I was, and there was a local one to me that I could take a train to that was close. But Upgarage is not Subaru focused, even
No.
if most people might think it is. But at that time in Tokyo, there was a Subaru Upgarage, which I went to, and it was insane. It made my basement look like nothing. It was crazy. There was I mean, obviously everything is JDM there, but it was just all
Yep.
sorts of cool stuff: seats, wheels, strut bars, a whole wall of them. It was just crazy. So that when I was there, unfortunately I only had about 15 minutes to spend, but I did buy some stuff from that.
In
But yeah, I
15
mean,
minutes, you're just running around grabbing shit.
I did, and
I buy all
the,
of
the
it.
funny story about that, yeah, the funny story about that specific time was at that Tokyo Up Garage at the Subaru one, they had a blob eye at WX bumper, which probably was just an NA one, but it had the JDM fogs,
Sure.
and the fogs were in the bumper, like snapped in. So in the bumper, it was like 50 USD for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I tried to communicate, which it was hard to communicate to Japanese because most of them don't speak English. So I used my Google Translate to say, "Hey, would you sell me just the fog lights for 50?" And they said, "No, you had to buy the whole thing." So I bought the whole thing, took the fog lights out in the parking lot, and threw the bumper in the trash kind of next to it so that they could just like take it back in Japan. So
Yeah.
then I put the fog lights in my backpack and kept going. So, I got what I wanted, but it was just, the Japanese are very binary, 1 or 0.
Yes. And have you found that with dealing with the Japanese a lot, that that's kind of how it is this is what it is. Like there's no
Yeah.
haggling, there's no changing anything, there's no like, hey, can we do this instead? It just this is what it is.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, um, they would talk to the boss, you can like talk to the boss, and he's just like, no, this is it. Like, you either buy the whole thing or you don't buy anything.
Mhm.
They're not mean, they're very polite. So,
Yep.
yeah.
That would be so crazy just running through that. And only having 15 minutes in there, I bet you that was probably more stressful than anything because you're like, I need to see it all. So you're like running through this place.
Yes.
Oh, that'd drive me up the
Yeah, and
wall.
I'm snapping pictures.
Yeah.
I
With
know I had a bunch of pictures I snapped, and yeah, most of them were blurry because I'm like moving around. But it was great. Living in Japan was definitely key for that type of stuff.
Sure. So, um, is there any particular part that sticks out that like you got that you like you felt like this was a massive accomplishment? Like I finally got this thing. You know what I mean? Like what or maybe it was like a part you got early on that really like clicked something for you that it was, let me explain this. I feel like I'm running around here. So one of the first modifications that any bug eye owner should do if they're serious about a bug eye and they want to improve the way the car looks, it is a very small thing. And it's the thing that I just purchased from Max, which is a JDM STI grill. Okay, the version 7 grill changes the entire way the front of the car looks. It improves it dramatically. Okay. More than likely, that was one of the first things, like you said earlier, that you went after. Now, is there anything like another weird thing, maybe some like ARC or Prova thing or some random OEM dealie that like really just sent you off the deep end, or you felt like this was a massive accomplishment for getting?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, the JDM grill was huge. It was
Yep.
the first time I felt something from buying a car part, which was special because it was a really obviously a huge deal for the aesthetics of a bug eye.
Yep.
But I will say that the first part that I bought that kind of like resonated with me, and it's kind of something that's like close to the body, is when I bought JDM V7 STI seats. I went to Lansing and met a guy from Detroit
Yeah.
area who had these seats. And when I sat in those, I put them in the parking lot and drove home. It was a whole nother thing for me. So that led me to the part that was like the Holy Grail one, which was finding S202 seats. And this was a whole thing. I bought them on um, Japan auctions, but there was a guy in Okinawa who was there for the military, and he posted on Facebook saying, "Hey, if anybody wants to buy some cool parts, I'll help ship them back." So he bought them in Japan, disassembled them for me, and packed them into smaller boxes so the shipping wouldn't be insane.
Okay.
And I got these seats and had to rebuild them. And when I was building the yellow S202 rep, that was kind of like the biggest, hardest part was finding the front and rear seats. And somebody was parting out one on Yahoo auctions, and it was like I had to have this, and there's no way I'm going to find these ever again. Which I ended up finding another set, but it's a crazy story on that one too. But yeah, like that was back to the V7 SKS seats in general. Like those were like the holy grail. For
That's
me.
one of
Not,
those things,
why am I
again,
going to find?
people if you've never done it, and I personally, I'm tall, I'm all torso, okay? Bug eye seats, US domestic market bug eye seats by far fit me the best of any US seat. But you sit in a set of JDM seats and they are so much better than what we got here, especially in the STI. The STI, the OEM seats are garbage. They are trash compared to what they got over in Japan. You sit so much differently, and what really sucks, and there are ways to do this, and actually I'm going to ask you about that. But there they drive right-hand drive over there. So the height adjustment seat is on the other side. Um, I heard of people doing this, but I'm not sure the process of it. How do you do you know the easiest way to make a height adjustment seat on the driver's side, the US domestic market driver's side, so on the left-hand side? Like, do you find a US seat and like hack it up? Do you got to weld stuff? Like what what do you got to do for that?
So there's a whole thread on Nausea, and this is kind of a deep knowledge moment for me. So I'll go through it quickly to not to spend too much time. But basically, if you're wanting to do '04 to '07 JDM STI seats, is extremely easy because the design of the left and the right seat is the same as far as the base goes. So you just buy USDM '04 to '07 WX or STI seat, and you put the seat base, the metal part with the rails and the height adjustment. You put your cushion of your JDM seat on that, and it takes me 10 minutes. When it comes to bug eyes, it's not easy because the design of the left and the right seat is different.
Okay.
So if I remember correctly, the seat that has height adjustment has a bunch of wire springs between the left and right rails, and the seat that doesn't have height adjustment is kind of like a big metal bucket underneath. So the cushion design is different, which is really not easy to transfer. If you had a JDM V7 bug eye STI passenger seat, the one that we would sit in, the driver,
Yep.
you could try to put the seat cushion on a USDM bug eye passenger or driver seat base with a height adjustment, but it's gonna push your butt really high because the
Yeah.
cushion design's different, so it doesn't feel right. And I tried this at one time and it just didn't work. But what you can do that sort of works is you can use an SF Forester seat base, which has two round knobs on the side. It's not the same type of height adjustment as the Bug Eye V7 STI driver seat, the JDM one, but it does work. You can put the passenger cushion, which would be your driver one, on it, and you can have some sort of height adjustment. But the true solution is something that we're never going to be able to get because in Italy and other European countries other than the UK, they made a couple hundred left-hand drive V7 STI bug eyes,
Oh,
and those have blue cushions that you could use,
unobtainium.
and they're all gone. And I've
Yeah.
checked. Yeah, I've talked to the dealers over there, and they're all in LA at this point because everything is at this point.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the only true way. And go to like eBay.de or eBay.it, Italy or Germany, and then try to find a part out of some bug eye, but it's going to be impossible. So we're all out of luck with it when it comes to that.
So the play would be pick up let me make sure I got this right. Would be pick up some JDM STI seats. And I'm assuming the base between V7, V8, and V9 are all the same, right?
No, so that's the difference. The
Mm.
V8 and V9, which is like the '04 to '07 Bug Eye and Hawkeye, those seats are easy. You can
Okay,
just
so the play would be if you want something
willy-nilly.
decent, what you would get is a V8 or V9, and then you get a US domestic market driver's seat, and then basically hack the piss out of it.
Yep.
Okay. Good to know, because I
it's
think
not
we're gonna
even
do
that
this.
hard. Yeah, it's really easy. Yep, easy to do. I have a set if anybody needs them.
Well, I know a guy. I might be coming up for
Message
those.
me.
So yeah, DM me, bro. So what is the most insane part you've ever got? Like that maybe it wasn't your thing, but you 100% understand the insanity of finding this.
Yeah, this is a big one, literally and figuratively, and I still have it.
Yeah.
It's like underneath one of my shelves. It's an arc radiator for a Bug Eye STI.
Okay.
The whole radiator.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it's just like something
I don't know if
like,
I've ever seen one.
yeah, I've never even seen them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's probably made by a similar manufacturer to like Mishimoto or whatever. Maybe even Arc made it themselves, but it looks like a Mishimoto. It has the big Arc symbol in the front of it, and
Yeah.
of course it has a sticker, Ascend Bild and all that. But I mean, it's a cool piece, and I haven't used it, but one day maybe.
I don't know if I'd ever put it in a car. I gotta be real, especially like if you're
Yeah,
gonna be
that's fine.
driving on the street, you can put something else in there. Like that's one of the problems with some of your parts is they're so fucking cool and so rare, you almost don't want to use them.
I know. Yeah, I remember when I was tracking my yellow car
Yeah.
and you drove it, and I remember I had to warn you because I was nervous, not because of you, but just in general.
It
Track
was because
things
of me.
happen. There are always going to be an incident that
Yep.
happen, and I was like, "Dude, just be careful. This grill and that bumper and this roof vent and
Yep.
everything here is just unobtainable again because it's all yellow." And yeah, you respected it really well.
We're gonna talk about that too because you went through some crazy stuff. Let's talk about your cars a little bit.
Oh
So
yeah.
you got your bug eye, right? It was World Rally Blue. Do you still have that? Is that same one?
No, I sold it stupidly. It was still nice. I think it had 135,000 miles when I sold it, so I drove it about 50,000 with zero issues.
Hmm.
And I sold it to get the STI
Okay.
because I wanted a blah by STI.
Sure.
But I probably shouldn't have. Back then, I was, poor college student, just needed to recoup the money from that to get the other car.
Yep.
And I do know it went to Ohio somewhere. I kind of wanted to find it, but who knows where it's at this point or if it's still even in existence.
Yeah, or if it's even worth trying to save, because let's be real, if it's in the Midwest and
Right.
it's been driven, like it's I mean, I just drove all the way to Oregon to get a clean bug eye. Like it's getting rough.
Yep.
Um so then you got your STI, you started doing some blob eye stuff, and I know you got a bunch of blob eye goodies too, but obviously my favorite stuff is all the bug eye shit you got. But um what did you end up
Yep.
doing with that car? You got this STI. You were probably hyped at the time because you're like, well, it probably seemed like this giant upgrade, which I totally get. So,
Yeah. So I bought the Blob STI.
yep,
It had 100,000 miles and it was nice and clean. It was from North Carolina. And it was just my daily for, the next 10 years until I bought another car, pretty much, maybe like 8 years. And yeah, it's obviously at this point, it's been driven through all these winters and it's got 330,000 miles. So
hell
it's
yeah,
pretty
dude.
rusty underneath, but
At least you're using it,
it's a
right?
great car.
Good unit.
Oh, yeah.
So, where did this yellow one come from? Because this is the car that I'm awestruck every time I see this thing. It is incredible.
Yeah, so I've always loved the yellow. I remember when I was first looking for WXs, I found a yellow one in the Auto Trader, like the magazine you could get back then, and it was an
Yep.
automatic, Sonic Yellow. And it was kind of like higher miles for back then, and it was overpriced for back then, so I passed on it, probably mostly because it was not manual. But it intrigued me because I was like, oh, I didn't know they made yellow ones. And so when I had my STI, the Blob Eye, I was hunting for a yellow one actively, just because I've been wanting one for so long. But as you mentioned, even back then, it was tough to find a nice one that hadn't been wrecked, one
Very
that
hard.
hadn't been rusty.
What was
Yeah,
crazy
so
is
I
when
ended up
those
looking at actually.
sold, like Sonic Yellow was not really a sought after color in '03. The '02 ones that were that really goofy like pea colored yellow, those are like what's really funny is those are actually really rare and those are all gone. Like those cuz nobody gave two shits
Yeah.
about it, but the Sonic Yellow ones those were still pretty rare. And but you could find them out there but they weren't being taken care of. So it wasn't so much finding one, it was finding one that was clean.
Yeah, and that was the struggle that I had. I had bought, I think, 3 to 5 yellow bug eyes before I found the one that I have now, and, all of them were varying degrees of not nice. Like, one of them was from North Carolina, so it checked the box of no rust, but it had been hit.
Yeah.
Not bad, but I think it was, like, sideswiped, so I'm a big proponent of original paint, so that was a negative checkbox for me. I had a really nice one in the Midwest. It was from the Midwest, so it was starting to rust. So I sold that while it was still nice. It was low miles. It was a very nice original car. It would have been hard
Mhm.
to ruin it or quote unquote ruin it by JDM STI swapping it, but I would have still done it. But yeah, so then after finding, rusty ones and other ones for parts, and the hood that you got was from one of those. I'm sure.
Yep.
I found this one in Ohio, which generally wouldn't be a good thing, but it had only been in Ohio for about 6 months, and it came from California, actually, kind of where close to where I'm at now, like SoCal. And it had been in California its whole life, and I think it was really well taken care of here. And then some guy in Ohio bought it, put some stance boy wheels on it, rolled the fenders, and blew it up. So it was a perfect opportunity for me. because it still had good bones, and I was able to reverse most of the things that had gone wrong with it. And as you can tell, it's a nice car,
Yeah, it is.
all original paint, which is yeah, yeah. So yeah, I had been collecting S202 parts for close to 5 years, maybe 6 years at that point, and I had yellow bug eyes for a while that I'd thrown some of the parts on. So yeah, it just kind of all worked out, and I built a car.
So was that the same one that I drove was the nice one? Because the one I drove was still nice.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It was. I'm trying to remember fully the timing of that, but I'm pretty sure it was the same car. And I think I did that because the blue bug eye I was in between putting an oil cooler on it, and the oil cooler I'd put on a week before grid life started to leak. It was an OEM S202 one, I think, or maybe it was a set trap core. The core was leaking, and I couldn't get one in time, or just a core, so I had to take another car out, and I already bought the ticket, so I took that yellow one out, and yeah, it was fun to drive more of a stock car. Had like stock suspension and
Dude,
not as good tires and all that.
that thing looked like it was fresh off the lot S202. Like, it was absolutely unreal. And you were right, like all of these yellow pieces that were on it are complete unobtainium. Like, not only is it S202 stuff is hard to find, but it was yellow S202 stuff. So it was a particular color, and you're hell bent on original paint. Like it was yellow S202 stuff. S202 stuff in general is hard to find, but then it was yellow S202 stuff. It was all original paint. Like, I'm driving this car, like I almost felt bad driving it, but I desperately wanted to drive it because it was so damn cool. Yeah, that was nuts. So I remember meeting up with you to buy this hood, and then you knew what we did with the hood like almost immediately, right?
Yeah, I know, and it was fine because I think you put hood pins in it, or I know that you
You
went and
had
did the
to.
series as well.
We literally, this was
Yeah,
for a TV show, and like there was a very good chance this car was going to get hit, and it actually did, just not in the hood. The hood survived, but finding a like not only a Sonic Yellow hood, but I didn't need a pristine one. I just needed one that didn't look like complete shit. And like this hood was mint. It was mint, proper aluminum Sonic Yellow hood. I take it back to Six Star, and we were all like staring at this hood going, oh my God, I cannot believe we're about to do this. And Chach just grabs the drill and goes, well, it's going to happen. Yeah, right into it. Oh, that was like ripping the Band-Aid off, man. It was so bad because we had to put hood pins in it because we basically ripped the entire front of the car off because it honestly just rusted all the hell out. And we built like we kind of front half the car, so we built pins and everything into it. We didn't have the OEM latch or anything anymore. Oh man, that just makes me sick thinking about it again. Like how hard bug eye parts are to get now, and how hard they even were then. And we took one of the most pristine hoods I think you could have found and destroyed it. And I don't know how you even still talk to me. I,
that was for a good cause. I watched the show, and yeah,
I mean, it looked really good out there, so we had a good time. So, I'm
yep,
sure
definitely.
acquiring parts, you've met some wildly interesting people. Okay, because you've acquired some
Oh
really
yeah.
insane parts. You have any like really crazy stories, like something that sticks out in your mind about like acquiring something? Maybe something that took you years and years and years, and you met some wild people, or you're 90% sure this came out of like some yakuza boss's car or something.
Yeah, I have a really good story for this actually.
Okay.
So this is how I got my yellow roof vent, which is, of course, as you mentioned, yellow SGO2 parts are super rare. They only made 51 yellow SGO2s. So you guys probably recognize the name Mike Calloway, of course, from racing, but him and I were good buddies, and we were both buying parts from Up Garage and parting them out and whatnot. So he had bought a yellow roof vent from Yahoo auctions back before I had a chance to, and kind of before I was even considering cutting a hole in a yellow car. Period. So he bought that, and was trying to sell it. I kind of was going to buy it from him, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to pay the price he was asking, which was, you know, I was on a budget. And he ended up selling it to a guy in SoCal who was going to paint it blue. And, because roof vents were hard to find and he couldn't buy them new.
Yeah.
So he was just like, yeah, I'll just buy this one. I don't care what color it is. I'll take his, my whole car is going to get painted because it's in SoCal and the sun is crazy. So he buys the part, and then a year goes by, and I'm talking to Mike, and I'm like, hey, I really need a yellow roof vent now. I thought I could have bought one new, but you can't anymore. And I thought that another one would come up on Yahoo auctions, but they're definitely not going to be that way. There's only 51 of them in the world, or 53, or however many. So I was like, can I have that guy's info and see if I can message him and see if he still has it? And Mike was like, yeah, but it's been a year. There's no way. So I messaged this guy, and I'm like, hey, any chance you still have this yellow roof vent you bought from Mike Callaway a year ago? And he was like, actually, yeah, I haven't even opened it yet because my car has been waiting at the body shop for this whole time because it's moving really slow. What do you want to like? Do you want it? So I was like, at the time you could buy a blue one new. So I bought him a brand new blue roof vent top, just the top piece.
Yeah.
Shipped it to him, and he shipped me the yellow one, and that's how I got it.
Dude, hell
It was
yeah.
an amazing story.
Yeah. Sometimes it's awesome when a shop moves too slow.
Yeah.
You got saved
Yep.
by delays in work. That's the kind of when you're doing what you're doing and looking for very specific parts, and most of the time they're going to be used because a lot of this stuff just doesn't exist anymore. Like having friends, like you need to be very social and talking to people. You're gonna have to look in these crazy little, back alleys and stuff and weird auction sites, or just knowing people. Like the more people you know, the better. That's wild. Like you caught it just in time, man. And I bet you next week that thing went to paint. How sad would you have been?
Yeah, he did say that his car was going in soon. Oh, I would have been devastated. I kind of already expected that it was going to be
Yep.
like a dead lead, but hey, it worked out, and I'm glad I was able to talk to him. And like you said, building friendships and connections. Having Mike as a resource was awesome, and he was
Mike,
willing to send me that lead, so it was great. Yeah.
Yep, Mike's great people. He's been doing street class for a while, trying to compete. He's got a hell of a nice bug eye too. He's been really hell bent on running EJ207s. Yep, Mike's super good people. I should have him on sometime too. What's like your favorite JDM piece? Something we didn't get in the US that people don't really think about, but probably should. Like if they were to, maybe they're just getting into this, maybe they decided to go pick up the STI that they always wanted, and you're like, hey, you should look into something like this. Or they buy the bug eye they wanted back in the day. Is there anything that sticks out in your brain that like they should look out for?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what the goal is. It could be a small part, but I would probably lean more towards like larger parts. So
Sure.
If you were buying a bug eye, if I were buying a bug eye and if I wanted to know like, hey, what's cool? What do I need to do? It would be an EJ207
Yeah.
because it's a whole new world. But if I bought like an STI, like a blob eye or a hawkeye, I think like I mentioned earlier, the seats for me was huge.
Yes.
Like that they hold you tighter, so you feel more planted. It changes the
you
one
sit
thing.
A little lower.
Yeah, the steering wheel, the shifter, and the seats. Yeah, so like you have those three things that are physically touching you in the car, and that's extremely important for how the car feels. So yeah, that's what I would think.
Touch surfaces change everything. What you're actually feeling or how you're feeling when you're in a vehicle completely changes how you feel about that car. Like the rest of the interior could kind of be shit. Like even the outside might not even look great or how you want it, but man, if the stuff you're actually physically interacting with is like feels premium or just has that whatever it is, that nest to it, that it can completely change your attitude. It is a dopamine hit that it is hard to explain until you've actually felt it. One of the big ones I touched on earlier for me is how much how much people can't stand the way a bug eye looks until you just put a JDM grill on it. It completely changes the look of the car. Like it is unreal how this one little piece absolutely changes everything with it. I think it's massive. And there's some small stuff. I wish we would have I wish STI would have been kind of the same way here as it was in Japan, where you could go buy like bits and bobs from STI. Or maybe we could have ordered some of these JDM parts here that because like the S202, the S203 wings, I'm not a big fan of the S204, but the 202 and 203 wings, I think are just fantastic looking. I think they just look great. It really adds to the car. I wish, some of the wheel options that they got over there would have been really sick if we would have got here, even if they would have been freakishly expensive, and most of them were just like kind of a rebadge Volk. It's still, you're going into a dealership to buy it. So you got that behind it, yeah, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Oh, Kurt just pulled up that car, and look at that gorgeous ass hood that we popped some cheesy ass fucking hood pins in right out of the gate. that was a rowdy build. But yeah, I guess from here, what's kind of your plan from here on out? Are you just going to keep hoarding parts? Are you liquidating? What are you trying to do? Do you got any plans of maybe doing a little bit more racing? You dabbled with some grid life street class a little bit, but I haven't seen you too much. What's your plans?
Okay. Yeah. I'm always trying to liquidate as much as I can, but it's easier to buy than to sell. So it's kind of hard. And I'm already in it this deep, so I might as well stick with it. I think for my next
Sure.
project, I have a lot of GC8 parts collected. So
Ooh.
I'm looking for something along the lines of that. Yeah, maybe JDM, maybe USDM. I've already had one JDM version 3 STI, which is great. But I kind of want a Type R or something two-door. So that's kind of where I'm at in the future of Subarus. I probably won't be selling any of the cars that I've built, but who knows?
Are you thinking about trying to pick, now that these are old enough and we can do this, are you actually just going to buy an actual right-hand drive JDM one, or are you going to try to build something?
Well, I've already had a right-hand drive JDM version 3 4-door, but I really like the 2 doors. So ideally, and I've thought about this for a long time, and I've also, I built a 2.5 RS TI back like 10 years ago, which was a version 4 STI swap. But I would like to do something like what, I don't know if you guys know Garrett Glossery. He races an RX-8, but he has a really, really sweet USDM RS, which has a version 8207 and a Forester STI 6-speed and a roof vent. So, I'd find an L, I'd put a 207 in it, I'd do a 6-speed just like that.
Yeah.
Maybe paint it red or green or find one that's that color, something like that, something unique.
Sure.
And I have quite a few parts collected for that type of project. Yeah.
I know a thing or two about
it's
that.
It's more fun
too.
to build them than to buy them.
I might even have some goodies that I could hook you up with. I've got some like JDM spats and some other stuff floating around in my, I don't have a hall of wonders like you do, but I have like a corner of wonders. So
yeah.
Nice.
I need some of that. Yeah.
Adam actually asked a pretty good question too. How do you advertise, especially these days now that you used to put stuff on Nasiak, okay? And I don't know how that's working for you these days, but is this still kind of a, if you know, cause what'll happen is people kind of advertise for you. I put a thing out into the world. I'm like, is anybody sitting on any of this stuff? And 3 people tag you, you know what I mean? Is that still how you do most of your business, or is it, are you out there advertising this stuff? Are you actively trying to sell parts still? What's your gig?
Yeah, Nasiak was good for back in the day, but it's kind of dead right now. Forums are dead, but yeah, Facebook is the main avenue. But I still don't really advertise much. It's more word of mouth, which is better advertising in general. So usually I try to find somebody who's looking for something, and I'll have them message me, or I'll shoot them a message. and occasionally I will post a bunch of stuff for sale if I'm just kind of in the mood. But yeah, it just, I think word of mouth is the best type of advertising. So that's doing the job for me. I've built the repertoire already.
You do got a reputation of the guy who's got the stuff. And every time I talk
Yep.
to you, I'm like, fuck, I'm going broke. Um, um, so yeah, that's a huge one, dude. It's cool to hear that you're gonna be messing around with GCs. It's kind of funny that it's like you and I are crossing. Like you're going to mess with GCs and I'm heading back to Bug Eyes. But I don't know, maybe we can help each other out. We'll have a good time. And plus, you still got all that great stuff. I mean, you're sitting on what, 2 Pro Drive bumpers right now? You still there?
Race car.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah,
Are you still sitting on like 2 Pro Drive bumpers right now or what?
yeah, I have 2 spares and then one on my blue race car.
No, he's not sitting on 2 Pro Drive bumpers. He has 2 spare Pro Drive bumpers. That's so crazy.
Yeah, those are special.
I would love to pick one of those up. That maybe that's a thing for the future. The problem with that is a proper Pro Drive bumper, if I'm getting this right, remind me if I'm wrong here, but doesn't that integrate the grill into it also?
No, that would be more of like a burn up or lawn sport
Oh,
option that you could get aftermarket. Yeah, but
okay.
the Pro Drive uses the same mounting points and everything like a regular bug eye bumper, but you can get a Pro Drive grill, which makes it look more like the car that raced in WRC. But no, it does not integrate the grill from the
So
factory.
you can use that JDM grill with a Pro Drive bumper. In fact, I think that's the picture we used, isn't it? That is a JDM grill with a Pro Drive bumper.
That was always my thing. I wanted to have that look.
I mean, it's a good look, man. It's a good look. So sweet. Well, we're gonna do a little thing, since we're running up here on an hour, and you're OG enough to where we can have this conversation, and we're gonna do the Nasiak member number showdown. What is your member number?
It's 214932.
That ain't bad. You actually beat some of the Cobb guys.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that. So just bragging, so you know, mine's a 37078. So yeah, but I got my 02 and 02. So it was used. That person that I bought it from got it in 01. So I was a little late to the party, and I was also more of an iClub guy that transitioned into Nasiak. By the time you came along, iClub was basically dead. That was nothing but just rehash. So, yep. Like Adam in the comments said, it's not many of us under 10K. Yeah, there's less than 10,000 of us. But there's definitely not many of us left around. There's not many of us left around. So that's still like, you came in right when like the JDM hype was really, really going nuts. Like that people started, they kind of went away from body kits and all of that stuff. And then the JDM thing really took off where people were trying to get OEM parts from the Japanese cars. That was like 07 to 09 when then that was exploding. So you came in right at the right time. So you hit that dead nuts on time. So Porsches. I want to talk about this real quick, okay? And it probably won't be real quick, but I definitely want to chat about it. You've also got a whole little thing on the side with that you really got a thing for Porsches. I'm not sure because I only keep up with the Subaru side of things. Do you own a 911?
Yeah, I have 3.
What? I had no idea. I didn't realize you were a complete Porsche head like that. That is nuts, man. So what do you have?
So my first one was a 996 Turbo, 2003.
Okay.
And then I bought a after that, recently, actually, about a year and a half ago, I bought a 996 GT3
Holy
2004.
holy shit,
Um,
man. These aren't
yep,
just
and
like the turbo the GT3 is actually like that's probably skyrocketed. When did you pick these up? Is this before the bubble really hit with them?
so the turbo definitely I got before the bubble was too big. It was in I bought it right around COVID. I think it was like January of 2020, something
Okay.
like that. So it was a deal. Yeah, and it had high miles, but it's got good bones.
Yeah.
But yeah, the GT3 was last year, or 2024, a year and a half ago. So
You
the
paid for
prices have
that.
been inflated already.
Yeah, you paid for
Yeah, I
that
paid
one.
for it. Yep,
So,
yep.
and then you said you got one more.
Yeah, so I have a 1974 911 Targa, which has a 911 SC engine swap into it. Kind of like
Nice.
a V7 STI swap into a bug eye.
Yeah. So you've got three pretty distinct generations here. You've got like the first of the water cooled, okay, um, and then you've got what a ton of people would say is like the before they started getting large and absurdly expensive. So your GT3 is what a lot of people would consider like peak. Okay. And then you also got like some old air cooled stuff. What's your favorite to drive?
Well, recently the 74 has been amazing. It's just so light and
Hmm.
easy and smooth. Compared to the GT3, which is like aggressive and harsh and really, really capable, like infinitely more capable because it's a GT3.
Sure.
But sometimes, you just want to go back to basics, and the air cooled cars are just such a good charm. And, my dad has taught me on those because he's got some of those. Like I have Subarus, so I grew up with those, and it just feels like nostalgia, and also just great. They're really good cars, reliable cars. So yeah, recently it's been the 74.
That's sick, man. And usually what you end up seeing is a lot of people you do hear people like moving into Porsche after Subaru, which is from the sounds of it kind of what you did, but it isn't like you're giving up on Subarus. Like you tend to see that every once in a while. Like they'll have like it's they get very pinky up about it and I don't get that vibe from you in any way.
No, I love driving them, and I still some days I'll pick Subarus over any of the Porsches just because there is really a special thing about driving a Subaru. I agree.
It's just different, man. But I never understood any of the love for Porsche at all until I got to spend a weekend with and it really not even that amazing of a car. But it kind of enlightened me to how good these cars can be. And it was just a Boxster, a like a 13 Boxster. And I gotta be real, like the car was just really good. Like everything was where it was supposed to be. It made all the right noises. It just did what it was supposed to do. And it made me like look into this more. And like I gotta be real, like a 993, like the last of the air cooled generation. Man, I'd love to have one of those. And I don't even want I don't want a
That
turbo, I don't want a nutcase one. I want a basic Carrera, maybe a Carrera S, nothing fancy. Manual simple.
Yeah, that's on my list. But good luck these days.
Yeah, I've heard that. There's actually one in Nashville it's got to be fucked up cuz it's severely underpriced. I'd be interested to go take a peek at that, but I don't know. You should probably look around and see if you take a look at that and tell me what you think. It's on Facebook Marketplace right now. So, um, yeah, man, I got to be real. I'm super hyped to have you on. This was great. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day. If somebody was to get a hold of you, if they're looking for some unobtainium JDM shenanigans or anything else, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, just feel free to message me on Facebook or Instagram. And I really appreciate you inviting me on this call today. And I had a great time. So, yeah, I'd love to come back at any time.
Dude, I guarantee I'm dragging you back on here again. I've got a plethora of stupid topics. Plus, let's be real, I'm just madly in love with my bug eye again, and you're one of the only people that get it. So, plus you have just an ass load of parts that I want to buy, and but I gotta build some cash up. The problem with JDM parts for your own personal bug eye is there's no such thing as sponsorship for that.
That's
So
true.
it's it's just not a thing. So all right, boss. And again, I can't thank you enough for being on. And if if you are looking for some crazy JDM stuff, I can't recommend him enough. I think you have 100% NASIOC seller rating, right?
Sure do.
That's insane for the amount of parts that you sold. So that's honestly, you say what you want about his member number, and he's post noob Jesus. So, so he's kind of a youngling. Okay, we'll let him slide. But holding for the amount of parts he's sold to have 100% seller rating on NASIOC is crazy, and that is. If you need any proof that he's legit, that's the way to do it. So hit him up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and he'll get you taken care of. But again, can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your day to come on, and we really appreciate it. And it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun. We will see you guys next week. Later.